Yo, what's up, guys? Getting started here with the lesson. We got my boy. Second. All right, guys, what's up? Getting started here with the lesson. We got my boy BFam. Well, formerly known as BFam, now known as Visionary, in the room right now. How you doing, man?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing pretty good. Anyways, oh boy, there's the echo. That's okay. We'll try to power through it. Anyways, getting started here with the lesson. So, BFam. God, I'm sorry. I'm gonna keep messing that up throughout the entire session. I knew you so well as BFam in the past. Okay, so, Visionary. When we spoke earlier, you told me you were a Shulk main, Rosalina secondary. You identified as a journeyman player, so not quite intermediate, but not a beginner by any means. You want to become the best Shulk main one day.
Yes.
Okay. So, we spoke a little bit in terms of your the strengths and weaknesses that you believe you have. You said you struggle to adapt on the fly. Oh my god! Hold on, I need to change the rules completely on the match. So you struggle to adapt on the moment, and you can't think of too many of the weaknesses. So I wrote down you might have some weakness in terms of self-awareness.
Yep.
Okay. You said you found yourself to be very malleable, and able to quickly take and apply advice. You're very comfortable when you have momentum, so you have a good aggressive flow. You have good DI, air dodge reads, things like that.
Yeah.
Okay. And you said that what you wanted to cover mostly in this lesson was working on improving your neutral, option selection, and optimization, understanding risk versus reward, and applying pressure off and on the stage.
Yep.
Okay. Making sure I got all of that. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about, have you watched any of my lessons in the past before?
I believe I watched maybe half of one in the past, but I don't remember which one.
Okay, that should be fine. So, first thing I want to talk about is, in terms of neutral, understanding neutral, I want to describe a little bit. What is neutral to you?
Neutral is like, essentially the safety space, I guess I would say, between the two characters, like throwing out attacks and stage control. Like, for example, if I was approaching you and I caught you with an aerial and I put you into a combo where you wouldn't be able to get out, for example, that would be putting me in the advantage state and you in the disadvantage state.
Okay. Well, that's one way of looking at it, but that's not entirely what it means. Essentially, yes, you're right that if I grab you in a combo and I'm trapping you in there and you can't really escape, that's definitely the advantage state. But advantage runs a little deeper than that, and neutral runs a little deeper than that. It essentially revolves around the amount of options you have at your disposal. So here in where we're neutral, I can walk forward, I can walk backwards. You can walk forward, you can walk backwards. I can run and shield, I can run and spot dodge, I can run and grab, I can jump, I can do whatever I want. That right there is the basic definition of neutral. You have all your options available to you. You and your opponent's options are generally on equal ground. So, let's say I put you in that situation you described, where I grab you and start a combo. Here, your options are very limited because of hit stun. Because your options are limited, you are at a disadvantage. But at the same time, if I throw you off stage, you're also at a disadvantage because your options are limited. You have to grab the ledge, you have to get back on stage. So, in general, it all comes down to the amount of options you have available to you. So, generally, when you want to take the advantage, you want to restrict the amount of options that your opponent has. And the reason you want to do that is because it makes your opponent more predictable. Let's say, like I said, I'm in the situation where I can grab you and throw you down. You have pretty much no options while you're in a true combo, but if it turns into a 50-50, like for example, Mario tries to down throw forward air, then here you have the option of either jump or air dodge. And if you air dodge, you're below the stage. Alternatively, if you jump, you get caught by the fair. That right there turns a situation where, like, for example, if I'm in neutral, I try to land a raw forward air. Not only is it not going to give me anything, but it's going to be very hard for me to connect with it, because you can very easily see me coming, you can dodge away, you can do so many different things to beat it out. That's one example, because, like, for example, on the ledge, if I grab down throw and forward air, you're dead, but on stage I can do the same thing. Assuming it's the right percent. I think like a little bit higher. Let me raise the percentage a tiny bit. But you get the idea. And that right there is a 50-50. We all understand 50-50 is relatively well. That is basic layout on the options there, because essentially if I'm in this position and I'm running towards you, I can do so many things while I'm running towards you. You can't possibly predict what I'm going to do unless I'm a predictable player, which means I'm probably bad. I have been conditioned into doing something, or whatever you use to try to beat it out is safe enough that there's not much risk attached. So in general, Mario runs at you. You're not going to be able to react to what he does unless he's doing the same thing repeatedly. Like, if I'm always running at you with a grab, then you can expect next time I come at you, I'm going to come at you with a grab.
Yeah.
And there you can try to do something to get around it, like throw out an attack, or spot dodge, or whatever. But at the same time, let's say you spot dodge to beat it out. And the first time I come in, I run in and grab. Oh. Let's try that again. Alright, I guess I'll go here. First time I come in, I run in and grab. And use, and then you try to spot dodge it. Oh. It's a little hard on Wi-Fi. There you go. And then from there you can try to punish it. But then, what if instead I come at you and I do something like this? Or in that case, if I come at you with the shield. Like, it's essentially, the point I'm getting at is you can't really predict it. But in a situation where I've restricted your options, for example, you're off stage, now you have very few options. You have to grab the ledge. Now you have 6 options, and half of them get covered by me not doing anything. That's kind of how it ends up working out. So let's talk specifically about neutral.
Alright.
So, let me see, how am I gonna go through this? Okay, so, in terms of taking an advantage, 2 very basic advantages that you can take advantage of are stage control and frame advantage.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about stage control first. So it's obvious enough that when both of us are on opposite sides of the stage, we control around even amounts of the stage. And it's obvious enough that if I have you to the ledge, then you have less control over the realm around you. But what exactly defines the amount of stage control? Could you point out what portion of the stage is in your control right now?
Oh, well, you mean specifically when I'm standing over here?
Yes.
Roughly about this portion.
Okay, you are underestimating your stage control, very much so. Consider the character you are.
Oh, right. I didn't even think about that.
This is what's important about about analyzing stage control. Every single character has different range of control. Imagine a bubble around your character. And that bubble is not only your range, but it's the range that you can throw out an attack before your opponent can react to it. So, for example, I want you to throw out a dash attack. Just instant dash attack right now. Wasn't quite instant, but what's your C-stick set to?
Attack. So...
Okay, I want you to dash and then press down on the C-stick at the same time. There you go. That's an instant dash attack. The amount of range you cover by your instant dash attack is roughly the outer edge of what I call your threat zone. It's the edge of your burst range. Unless you switch arts, because if you're in speed art, then your burst range goes even farther. You can like walk up and grab someone, or like instant pivot grab. and just cover a huge amount of distance before your opponent can react.
Alright.
So, your bubble as Shulk is enormous, and you need to take advantage of that. Meanwhile, as Mario, my bubble isn't very big. Even though I have much faster frame data than you, I have to cover a lot more distance for my attack to come out. So, if I try to go for a dash grab from here, assuming it's not Wi-Fi, you'd be able to react to it. If I go for a dash grab from here, there's nothing you can really do. And at that point, you're in danger. Just by existing, I have a frame advantage over you. So, in general, what you want to do was this threat zone. You want to think about what it gives you, why it allows you to control that part of the stage. If I am within your threat zone, let's say right here, I'm within your threat zone, you're not within mine. So, by the very nature of this exchange, you're at an advantage.
Yeah.
This right here is what creates the element called footsies. Because when I'm here, I'm at an advantage. But when I'm here, you're at an advantage. Because you can throw out an attack before I can react, but I can't throw out an attack before you can react. This in and out play that you can do, like me trying to step into your zone, but not stay within the zone where I'm in danger, so I can keep you in my threat zone, and back out, maybe bait an attack, and then come back in and attack you. That right there is footsies. That's what goes into it. Like you see in Melee, how people are constantly dash dancing. A lot of people think it's just to like throw your opponent off, like you don't know which direction your opponent's going to dash. And I guess that might be part of it, but think about it. Is there any difference between, any practical difference between this, hold on, and this?
Not really. There isn't any difference.
Exactly. It doesn't matter if I'm dash dancing over here or standing still, because in the end I'm staying in the same position, and you can react to when I burst through. That's what throws people off a lot when they try to apply movement. Like, when you do things like extended dash dances across the stage, you don't gain anything for it. All you do is lose the ability to shield. So in the end, it's worse off for you. Now, on the other end, what if I do it here?
It mixes me up. It doesn't necessarily tell me what you're gonna do.
Like, I could just be standing still, but because of the way I'm moving, I'm stepping in and out of your range.
Right.
So I might step into your range, you might prepare to counterattack, and then I step out of your range and then punish you for doing so. That's one example of how this burst range aligns with each other.
Okay.
So let's talk about a little bit more of how it applies to stage control. So the range of the stage you control, I want you to think of two different aspects. There's direct stage control, which is the entire range of the bubble around you, and then there's indirect stage control, which is the area that you deny to your opponent because of your bubble. So for example, if I have you here, I'm standing right here. I have the bubble in front of me, and I have the entire stage behind me. So even though I don't control that part of the stage directly, so if you're able to soar over me, you can get over there, I can use it as a resource by backing off. So if you move forward and I back off, then I keep you in the range. I can keep you in the range, which is most effective. Likewise, if you're trying to zone me out, which is more likely what's going to happen in the Mario vs. Shulk matchup, you're trying to zone me out, and I'm approaching you. If you approach me like that, then you essentially give up the control you have over the stage. If it works, then great. If it doesn't, then you just messed up. Here, try it again. Like there, it worked out. you have a large amount of stage in your possession when you have your opponent cornered. This is an advantage that you have over your opponent. You don't want to throw away this advantage. You want to use it as much as you can. The main issue that you're doing that's allowing me to catch you out is that instead of moving, like staying in place or moving away from me to take advantage of the amount of stage you control, you're moving towards me. I want you to think about what exactly it is gives you this control of the stage. There's a bubble around you, an invisible barrier where you threaten your opponent with actions that you can pull out before your opponent can react. So, if you cross that barrier for them, or like if they have to try to break through the barrier, let's say I'm trying to get through to you, or actually let me say it in the situation where you actually have an advantage. If I'm trying to get through to you, and I want to break through this barrier, you can move backwards to keep that barrier on me, and keep threatening me directly with your attacks. Which is why like people moving backwards, throwing out hitboxes like that is kind of hard to deal with if you're trying to approach.
Yeah.
But if you move towards me, then things become a little different. Here, I want you to experience this. Get on the ledge real quick. Okay, what feels more dangerous? Me being here when you're on the ledge, and you desperately want to make it back to the stage? Or me being here?
There.
Immediately so, maybe. But that right there is a nice example of two entirely different threats. Because I want you to envision this. Put yourself on the ledge. No, put yourself like controlling the stage. Or actually, yeah, on the ledge right there. That's fine.
Okay.
If you jump, you clear right past me and now you have advantage. If you roll...
Then I can just back arrow when I'm falling down or whatever.
What's up?
Because then I can just back arrow when I'm falling down or whatever.
Yeah, or just move towards center stage. And then you have the... Well, not that far. You want to keep your advantage.
Right, yeah.
Even closer than that. Not that close. Like, right around there. Perfect. That's around where you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
This way, your threat zone keeps... I am in your threat zone. You are not in mine. I cannot threaten you from this range. Assuming it's not Wi-Fi. Assuming it's local play.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you... No, the other thing you could do, you could just roll past me. However, if I'm standing here and you try the same thing, then if you try to roll through me, I'm just going to be right here. If you try to run towards me, I can back off. Like, try to do something like an advancing nair real quick. At that point it worked because your nair practically auto-crossed me up, but at that point it didn't. Essentially, you're pushing too far forward, you're giving up the advantage that you have, which is the optimal distance, the optimal spacing in this matchup. You don't want to be right next to Mario. However, if Mario moves forward towards you, then you have the ability to cross over him. And there you just take entire control of the stage. When you have control of the stage, if Mario tries moving towards you, you can move away from Mario. You don't want to cross up Mario when Mario's at the ledge. Because if you cross up Mario when Mario's at the ledge, now you're on the ledge and Mario is not. You give him your advantage. So, generally, it goes... That mindset of the threat zone goes a little bit into what I'm going to talk about next, which is the playstyles your opponent might exhibit. So in dealing with stage control and these invisible bubbles around your opponent, that's the range that they control. You generally, obviously, you want to keep these advantages in your corner as much as you possibly can. So, for example, if you're on the ledge, if you're right there guarding the ledge, you don't want to be too close, otherwise Mario can probably get back on stage really easily. Or if you try pushing too far into Mario, then you might end up putting yourself on the ledge. Like right there, that grab worked, but then you threw me into the stage. Which means now you're on the ledge and I'm in center stage. That's not what you want to do. almost always when your opponent is by the ledge, you want to throw them off the stage.
Yes.
Because then it puts you at an advantage. At the same time, you want to be careful what you decide to overcommit to. There you reset to neutral. There you mix me up, got a kill. And things would keep on going from there. But let's talk specifically about the neutral game. So, I don't know if you saw me describe it in the video that you watched, but generally what I like to do in order to play more adaptive in neutral and more quickly recognize what my opponent wants is I tend to divide the more common playstyles and tendencies into a sort of quadrant, which is based on their goal and their method of achieving the goal. So, in terms of goals, what I describe is passive and aggressive or active playstyles. I usually call them active. So,
I think I've actually heard of all these playstyles. You have passive offense, passive defense, active offense, and active defense.
Exactly.
Right? Exactly. Yeah.
So you kind of generally know the idea behind each of those.
Refresh me over the passive ones, but the active ones I do know.
Okay, so passive offense and passive defense, I generally lump into the same category because in the end they lose and beat the same things. Passive play specifically is in terms of dealing with stage control. It's aiming to protect your control of the stage. It's generally shown by your opponent trying to stay out of your threat zone and keeping you in theirs. Like at this, rather not in theirs, but like just generally staying out of your threat zone, being able to react to everything you do and playing accordingly to that. So if you try to push forward into me right now, I can potentially wall you out with like a back air or something like that if you try getting too close. Like think of Diddy Kong. Diddy Kong is actually a perfect example of passive play in general. Passive offense would be Diddy Kong staying at a distance and then you try to get close and he throws out a forward air.
Right.
And passive defense would be Diddy Kong holding banana.
Okay.
So essentially, in passive offense, what offense means in this context is a proactive playstyle, where they try to make light reads in order to put their foot in the door and guess what you're going to do and try to beat it up before you can do anything. So because they're playing passively and you're going into their range, they can generally see where you're going to be and they can react to your approach and throw out an attack. That's passive offense. Passive defense is a reactive playstyle, where generally what they're going to do is they're going to use a safe option and wait for you to make the first move, and then aim to punish him. So for example, Diddy Kong holds shield, wait for you to attack, and then throws banana.
Okay.
Or like, let's say you come in with with an advancing nair, and I just block. Or spot dodge or roll, and then you end up losing after that. Because I reacted, and you punched it. Active, it's the same thing with active offense and active defense, except the goal is different now. The methods translate regardless of the goal, but the goal in active is to take stage control away from your opponent.
Okay.
So before, where they're going to try to stay out of your threat zone, the goal of an active playstyle is to keep your opponent within your threat zone.
Okay.
So, for example, active offense, Mario is going to rush in and try to attack you. It's a little risky, but it sometimes ends up working out. Or, for example, Shulk tries to jump in and throw out like an advancing back air or an advancing nair from across the stage, things like that. General aggressive play. And active defense is, for example, I think you're going to spot dodge or try to zone me out when you approach, So I'm going to try to approach you, and I'm going to like shield or spot dodge and things like that. Another thing that goes into it is movement mix-ups. So, for example, I can go in and then step away. You throw out an option like a down tilt to try to punish me, and then you end up missing completely, and then I punish you as a result. So, like, for example, an example of Mario playing active defense could be something like this. You probably see Ally do things like that all the time. Where he steps backwards and then tries to up smash and catches people off guard with that. So, I guess let's try to break that down a little bit more. The way that I see these playstyles, they work in a relationship like a game of rock, paper, scissors. So, active offense beats passive... No, active offense beats active defense. Active defense beats passive play, and passive play beats active offense. So, for example, if you're trying to approach recklessly and I'm zoning you out or holding shield, oftentimes you're just going to end up doing something that can react to it and then punish you accordingly very easily. That's passive beating active offense. If I'm running in trying to rush you down to the shield, and then you cross me up, then you end up breaking right through my defense. But if you're trying to zone me out, then all I'm doing is gaining more stage control. And I'm generally staying very safe so long as I can react to whatever you do. Let's try to put that a little bit into effect. I'm going to play one stock, and each time I'm going to be overemphasizing one of these playstyles.
Okay.
And I want you to try to play in a way that's made to beat it out.
Alright.
Okay, let's go. Yeah. Okay, so that was what playstyle do you think that was?
The playstyle that you played?
Yes.
That was active offense.
No, that was active defense.
Okay.
I was constantly approaching with shields, air dodges, spot dodges, things like that, and then punishing you afterwards.
Okay.
So because you tried to zone me out, I was able to constantly react to everything that you did and punish you for it. I want to stress that this analysis of playstyles only applies in neutral. Once you take an advantage or you fall into disadvantage, this all goes out the door.
Right. And that makes sense.
So let's in general, when you're dealing with someone who's playing active defense, you want to take one of two approaches to beat them up. You either want to hit them before they can react. So for example, if you think your opponent's going to approach with a shield, you can just run forward and grab. That would be, either that, or you can bait out their reaction. So for example, if I run towards you with a shield, and then you, like, let me see, how can I emphasize it? Something like Malk would be a good example, I guess. Or stepping in and out of range, or maybe jumping as well. Like a double, like if you land on someone's shield and then you double jump right before you land, that would be an example of baiting it out. When dealing with active defense, generally, active offense wins, and active defense ties. Everything ties with itself.
Okay.
So you want to use one of those two. You don't want to aim for passive play because this is specifically designed to beat passive play. You can win with passive play, but you'll be at a disadvantage. And generally when you're playing in a competitive environment, you want to make sure the advantages are in your corner as often as possible.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and try that again. Alright, let's go. Okay, that was very rough around the edges, but it ended up working out. I noticed you had a tendency, like you struggled to give up on your general approach to this sort of situation, so you often went for a passive approach. And I mean, yeah, it's natural. Someone's coming towards you, you want to knock them away, but you have to keep in mind that that's exactly what your opponent wants. You can't, especially you want to avoid throwing out risky moves like forward smashes or something overcommittal like a landing back air that's going towards your opponent, because those moves have a lot of ending lag, if not malked, in the case of back air, and will generally put your opponent in a situation where they can very easily capitalize, considering that that's exactly what they want you to do. They want you to make yourself vulnerable so they can react and punish. Also, another thing to keep in mind is if I'm moving forward, it becomes very easy for you to move past me. Because, think about it. Think about the relationship of our bubbles. I want you to think about how easy it is to break through a bubble when I'm right here, compared to if I'm right here. This is one of the things we described. So, if I'm getting close to you and closing the distance, you can jump over me, or cross up with Nair, and then you end up taking the stage behind me and forcing me to continue trying to approach you. But I want you to consider that more going forward. Alright, let's try one more time and then move on, because I don't want to burn too much time on this. We have about half an hour left in the lesson.
Okay.
Alright, let's go. We're having a lot of difficulty breaking away right now. Finally reset to neutral.
That scared me. That caught me off guard.
Yeah, that right there was the bait.
God. That caught me off guard. Oh my god.
Okay, let's try that one more time. But I want to talk a little bit about disadvantage. I wasn't originally going to talk too much about it, but in general, what I want you to keep in mind is that when you are at a disadvantage against your opponent, you don't want to play the same as if you're in neutral or at an advantage. If you are in disadvantage by very nature, you are lacking in options. It becomes very predictable what you want to do. So if you keep trying to directly re-engage the opponent, then your opponent's going to know almost exactly what you want to do and is going to be able to block and punish. And then you give him artificially more advantage by doing so.
Right.
That's something you definitely want to keep in mind when you're getting juggled by your opponent and you're trying to land. Don't make it too obvious what you want to do. This is the point where you have to employ misdirection. You have to trick your opponent in what you want to do. So let's take on a side tangent right now. I want to talk a little bit about something that I noticed from you, which you noticed as well, but maybe you didn't fully commit it to memory, because you knew what you were supposed to do in that situation you were put in, but you didn't. I still see some signs of it in what you're playing, and maybe it's something you're struggling with, so I'm going to break it down for you. So, in a situation where you're in the air, you jump, and right there, your options are a little limited. That's part one. You're in the air, you can't shield, you can't do any grounded options until you land. You can only use aerials, air dodge, and special moves.
Mm-hmm.
And double jump. But once you double jump, now you really are out of options.
Yeah.
But there is another thing that you can move that maybe doesn't seem... No, there is another thing that you can do that maybe doesn't seem as obvious as an option. That's just drifting. Just moving from that position. From the point that I jump, I want you to imagine these hills that are a hill that is constantly going sourced from Mario into the maximum direction that he can jump or move.
Okay.
Within this direction, he can very easily just drift out. So let's say from this point, I can the instant I double jump, it creates a new hill in the direction of jumping. In the end, from this starting position, it's like an M. But if I stand still, then the arc stays under Mario.
Mm-hmm.
This becomes very important to visualize because it makes it easy to tell exactly where the opponent is going to land. So, for example, let's say let me rack up some damage on you. Okay, let's say I knock you off stage, and you try to get back on stage. And you go for ledge. This is good, because it doesn't, now, where you only had two options, which was go for ledge, the other one was land on stage, now you have 6 options. That's going from less options to more options, which is definitely something safe and in your favor. But let's say instead, you're in jump art, you decide to be a little overzealous, and you try landing on the stage instead. You try jumping over me, and I knock you off.
Go for it.
It's very easy for me to see exactly where you're going to travel, step out of your range, and then punish your landing. This is something called holding forward.
Right, yeah. I've heard of holding forward. Okay.
It's a very common habit, one that's very good for you to take advantage of, and one that you absolutely need to work out of your diet. Because once you start jumping in, your opponent notices it and is looking for it, they can very easily punish you really hard for doing so. I got a sour spot when I did it just now, but if that was a sweet spot, you probably would have died.
Yeah.
So, there are other things you can do besides just grabbing the ledge or landing on stage and going for center stage. In the same situation, let's say, knock me off stage real quick.
Yes.
If I jump back on stage, alright, I guess. Let's say I have a little bit more wiggle room, so throw me from here. If I go straight out to the ledge like that, then you have more than enough coverage to get me out. But, at the same time, I don't have to go for you directly. My bad, misinput.
Oh, okay. I thought there was a chance for me to punish, sorry.
No. I don't have to go back on stage directly. Like, I don't have to go all the way to the maximum thing so you can drift past me and catch me out. I can instead feint it and then drift away. Or maybe do something like a B reverse, where I'm jumping in and then... Hold on, I was facing the wrong way. Jumping in and then just B reverse to completely switch my momentum completely. And those are possible mix-ups for that sort of situations.
Okay.
That's something you want to keep in mind when you're disadvantaged. You want to practice misdirection of the opponent to make the most of the options that you have. So let's try one more time with the active defense, and then I'll very briefly go over the other options because I don't think you'll struggle with those quite as much.
Okay.
All right.
Oh shit! That was
No, that's a classic example of throwing your advantage.
Yes. I meant to short hop and then down air to hopefully get the 2-frame, but that didn't work. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, you held out decently well. Could be better, but it always can. All right, so let's go very quickly one stock over each of the other ones, and I'll go more into explanation for the other ones because I don't want to burn too much of the rest of the time because there's still a lot I want to cover before the lesson's over.
Okay.
All right. So I want you to try to determine which playstyle this is and act accordingly to what it is.
Okay.
You need to stop doing that.
Reading your dad reading that.
I'll talk a little bit about why I want you to stop doing that after the playstyles. Okay, so you were a little overwhelmed there. What I want you to do in this situation is I want you to acknowledge the fact, like, first off, what playstyle was I using? This one should be very obvious.
Active offense?
Yes, very much so. So, in this playstyle, I'm constantly trying to move towards you. Mario wants to be right here. So, you can take advantage of that because you know exactly where Mario wants to be at almost all times. If I want to be next to you, you back off. Let's say I'm over here. Well, you don't want to back off that far because now you don't have any room to move.
Right, yeah.
You want to back off, staying at a range where you are in control of the fight. If you back off too far, then you give Mario the ability to run forward and to cover the distance. And then you slowly give up your advantage and set to neutral. You want to take advantage of what you have. What you want to do is you want to wall him out. This is the situation where you want to use your walling options like back airs, nairs, reverse nairs particularly, things like that. Maybe even like pivot grabs, forward tilt, down tilt, things like that. You want to keep him at bay because he's constantly trying to be over here, so you want to be further away. Standing still isn't generally what you want to do, because if you stand still and Mario's able to pierce towards you, then he already has you. What you want to do generally is you want to attack while retreating and wall him out.
Hold on, Dad! Hold on! Hold on!
You need a moment? If you need a moment, we can pause.
No, it's alright, you're good.
Okay. So, shoot, let me think about what I was saying. Okay, so, if I'm constantly over here, you want to back off. You want to keep yourself at a range, like around this range, so that you can constantly be throwing out down tilts and things like that to threaten me if I move forward, and I am going to be moving forward.
Okay.
So that's something that you'll have to practice on your own time, but you'll find plenty of opponents to practice on. Generally, you want to stay at a range. And of course, you could always watch the other lessons that I've uploaded and look at those examples that I've provided over there.
Right.
So, the last one. Let's go. When your opponent is playing passively, you don't want to be reckless. It's very important you don't approach recklessly, because they can react to almost everything you can do because they are across the stage from you. If you come towards them in a straight line, it's going to be very easy to tell exactly when you're going to act, regardless of what you do, so they can prepare themselves accordingly. What you want to do when you're fighting a passive opponent is you want to employ misdirection. You want to bait their reactions or their attacks and then punish them for doing so. So you can do that with movement, you can do that with defensive options like shield, air dodge, and spot dodge, or you can try to outwall them. So if you stay at a mid-range like this, and your opponent's playing passive, you can throw out a wall that's much bigger than theirs and potentially beat them out in that game. If your character walls better than your opponent walls, then you might actually win that exchange. That's something to think about moving forward. So, we have about 15 minutes left, so I'm going to see how much I can talk about this. Let's talk about the concept of risk versus reward. So, this ties in to one of the most important aspects of understanding the fundamentals of the game, which is proper decision making. And the way you weigh those decisions is based on risk versus reward. So, let's take any option in the game. One very nice one that you so clearly demonstrated. Let's talk about your up smash at the ledge. So, I'm holding the ledge. You expect neutral get up, so you up smash. Let's talk about the risk versus reward. At this percentage, we're both at 0%. If you succeed, and I neutral get up, and you up smash, or I guess forward smash. No, let's talk about up smash specifically. I take some damage, you can't follow up, and we're back to neutral. You don't get any reward off of that besides a little bit of damage. Until I'm at death percent. We'll talk about that soon. Now, let's talk about failure. What happens if you fail? You try to get the up smash, you miss.
I can get punished.
Exactly. And considering the character that you're playing against, if you get punished, well, I mean, you just Like from here, I can do like a rising up air to, but I'm in no combo. Point is, that could go ridiculously long. You don't want to deal with that. You don't want that in your life. So right there, the reward is your opponent. No, you give some damage and you lose your advantage. The risk is your opponent gets a combo off of you. It's not worth it. That's never worth it. Even if you succeed, it's not worth it because you could have done something else that could have worked out a lot better. Let's talk about other opportunities you might have had. Instead, you read the neutral getup and you go for a grab. Here, not only can you potentially start a combo off of a grab, but you can also knock me off the stage and get an edge guard. That's some pretty high reward. And the risk is not very high because grab is a very non-committal move at times. You could be standing on ledge holding shield, and there's not really much I could do. Like what? I'm going to roll away from you and maybe take the stage and whatever, you didn't take any damage because I'm scared. Or I might roll, you might grab, and you have enough time to back off. Like, that's the point. So, low risk, high reward. That's worth it. Now, the situation changes a little bit. Let's say we're both at like 100%. I don't want to actually put you at 100%, but let's say we're back at that same situation. And you think, you know what? What am I going to do here? I want that up smash. So you go for the up smash. Let's say it succeeds. I neutral get up, you up smash, I die. And if it fails, you up smash, and then I get you as maybe something like that. Like, I don't really have too many options. That could kill. But besides that, I don't really have too many other choices. Maybe I can like jump up and then do something like that, and that is devastating. So essentially, the reward is you kill me, the risk is you might die. So at that point, whether it's worth it depends on what point in the match you are, depends on how much you've conditioned your opponent, things like that.
Okay.
So at that point it might be worth it. And meanwhile, if you get the grab, we're both at 100%, you're not going to kill me unless you're in Smash Art, in which case you kill me at 110%, around there. So, other things you could potentially do to cover the ledge, you can throw out like lingering nair, reverse nair like that, exactly. You can stay a little bit distance, holding shield, you can prepare to react as an up tilt, or air slash, or grab, or whatever. There's different options you have, like you can be staying this distance, and watch. I want you to stay like right here. And I want you to see what options I have available to me. If I get up attack, you were just barely too close, so stand a little bit farther away. Not that far. Perfect. So here, you can very easily threaten me on reaction if I throw out a neutral get up. If I roll, you can turn around and very easily cover it.
With like a grab or whatever.
Exactly. If I jump, I'm in direct threat of whatever you want to do, like an up tilt or something like that. I have to jump with an air dodge, and at that point, don't up smash. Do not up smash. There's no point.
I was just pressing buttons, honestly. Anyway.
Yeah. If I stay here, then you just stay there, and if I re-grab ledge, then I'm probably gonna die. Don't do that. Unless you've conditioned your opponent to up smash, you don't want to do that. It does cover multiple options. If you stand in the right place, it can cover like up smash. No, it can cover like neutral get up and roll, or neutral get up and get up attack. But against Mario, it doesn't really cover neutral get up and roll. It only covers neutral get up if you stand in that spot. And if you time it a certain way, you can maybe cover jump and get up attack. But you don't want to throw all your eggs in one basket when the result isn't guaranteed. If you want, let's continue talking about that situation where you're standing here and you're waiting for your opponent to do something. At this point, if I neutral get up, then I'm relatively safe. So because of that, I might be more inclined to neutral get up. And if I'm more inclined to neutral get up, now I've been conditioned, and next time I get up, I'm probably going to neutral get up again. And there you can go for the up
That was
smash.
supposed to be an up smash, but yeah.
You get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
That's one example as it pertains to ledge coverage, but let's continue talking about risk versus reward. Let's say you knock Mario off stage, and you try to go off stage to chase him. Mario got back on stage, and he's scot-free. That's one potential possibility of failure. Let's talk about, again, what happens here. If you go off stage... I missed him completely. Try doing a runoff fair. That didn't get you anything. Unless I'm at higher percent. It doesn't really get you much of anything. And if you fail, I might potentially stage spike you as my up B. In general, trying to edgeguard Mario when he's this close to the stage in a position where he can up B to the ledge is almost never worth it.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, because Mario has a relatively slow drift, small body, and short hitboxes, if you control the ledge, you can stop him from getting back on stage. So this right here, the advantage state is so very important. That's something you need to think about in terms of making decisions. Instead of going off stage, you might want to just stay on stage and wait to cover whatever he does. Okay, so in terms of optimization, I'm only going to be able to talk about this very briefly because we are just about to run out of time. In terms of getting the best reward possible of a certain situation, you want to again think about risk versus reward, but instead of thinking about risk, you want to think about the reward. So, for example, in a situation like the one we were presented, where you can up smash and get almost nothing, and you can or you can grab and get like an edge guard. The grab is more often. And if there's something else you could do that can get even more reward, like for example at mid percent you can you don't want to forward smash, because even though that would give you reward, it's only active for 1 frame. That's a very high risk of missing and then getting punished. You don't want that. But let's say you're in speed art and you're covering the ledge, and you do something like a nair and knock me off stage, and then from there at higher percent you can like nair, down nair, or nair fair, or maybe even at like 70% you can nair, run off the stage, and air slash, and then I die. There are different possibilities at different percents. If you catch someone with a nair on the ledge, just falling nair, you can run off the stage, air slash, and they die. Something like this. Like nair, and then up B. And then you can drift back to stage. Yeah, it needs to be in speed or jump. Actually, I think it has to be in speed if you're doing it in place. If you do an advancing nair, then it can be in speed or jump.
That was one. You?
And it has to be a landing nair. Like, hit with the nair as late as possible, otherwise you won't have time. This starts working around, like, 70%.
Oh, okay. Do you want me to test this? Is that?
I mean, if you want.
Oh, okay.
We are running out of time, though. It might be better to just move on.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so last thing I'm going to be talking about is the concept of learning to learn. Self-awareness. So, one easy way to start working on certain situations to improve on is to, you often play in tournaments, right?
I go to 2 weeklies roughly every week.
Are they streamed?
One of them, Poplar, used to be streamed and it stopped being streamed. Sometimes it streams, sometimes it doesn't. So it's kind of on and off.
Okay. And the other one doesn't stream at all?
Yeah, the other one doesn't stream.
Okay. Do you often appear on stream?
At the tournament that does stream, not really.
Okay. So, in that case, it might be better if you get some replays instead. Try to bring your console to tournaments if possible. And try to save replays of matches, especially matches that you lose. And especially the ones that you're not sure why you lost. Then what I want you to do is, every time you get hit, I want you to pause the match. It'd be a lot easier if you had it on a recording on a computer, because it would allow you to rewind the footage. But I want you to think every single time, why did I get hit? Instead of seeing, oh, I got hit, or what did I get hit by? No, you think, why did I get hit? You want to break it down as much as possible.
Okay.
And that will serve as a way of starting to learn, starting to see situations where you messed up, where you could have done something else. Especially with everything that I just finished telling you about the fundamentals of the game, you can try to break that down and try to see where your issues lie in that department.
Okay.
Okay, so with the last bit of time that we have left, is there anything left that you wanna ask about real quick before we end up finishing the stream?
No, I don't think I have any other questions. I think everything was covered. I appreciate that, so thank you.
No problem, man. It's a lot to think about, so definitely look over the footage. The echo is going to be ridiculously bad in the Twitch footage, but I'm gonna try to edit it out if I upload it to YouTube.
All right.
Anyways, thanks a lot for the donation once again. Hope you enjoyed, and I genuinely hope that this helps you improve. I'm going to tell you, it's not going to lead to immediate improvement. That's not what my lessons are usually about.
Oh, I know that.
If you apply the stuff that you learned and genuinely change the way you approach the game, it will end up helping a lot down the line. You will be able to improve much faster than you were before.
Okay.
That's the main goal of it. Anyways,
Awesome.
I'm gonna wish you luck moving forward.
All right. Thank you.
No problem, man.
No contest.
Okay, so that lesson was as a result of a donation that was that Visionary provided me with, a $20 donation. If you are interested in a lesson like this, tailored to you, your needs, your character, your whatever, I offer these for $20 an hour, $15 an hour for Twitch subscribers. So hit me up if you're interested in something like that. Also, feel free to follow me on Twitter, join the stream Discord, things like that. And if you are interested, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel and see when I upload videos. I did used to upload a lot of lesson videos. I haven't in quite a while, but I'm gonna see if I can make that work again. We'll see. I'll have to think about it. Anyways, take care of yourselves, guys. Thanks a lot for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something. Have a good night. I got some stuff to take care of myself today, so I'm not going to be able to continue streaming. Have a good night. Peace out.